Hi everyone, my name is Nilkit and today we will analyze chapter 8 altogether. Let's start. Our topic is evaluating arguments and truth claims. In this chapter, firstly we will analyze when is an argument a good one. This is really important. How can we understand? By spelling out a few things that a good argument is not, we can decide with this way. And let's look at it. What good argument does not mean? Good argument does not mean agrees with my views. One of the most serious mistakes in critical thinking is to confuse good argument with argument whose conclusion I agree with. There is a difference between both of them. To suppose that an argument is good only if it agrees with your own pre-existing opinions is the epitome of close-mindedness. It reflects the mindset of someone who thinks, I have a monopoly on the truth. Anyone who disagrees with me must be wrong. Such an attitude makes it impossible to learn from viewpoints that differ from one's own is completely opposed to spirits of critical thinking. Let's look at them. Good arguments does not mean does not mean persuasive arguments. Persuasive arguments. First, not all arguments are meant to persuade. Sometimes the arguer is just playing devil's advocate or preaching to the choir or going through the motions or thinking out loud or giving examples without any intention of persuading anyone. Second, bad arguments often persuade, whereas good arguments often fall on deaf ears. And thirdly, firstly, let me clean the board. Let's continue. Thirdly, good argument does not mean well written and or well spoken arguments. We sometimes praise arguments for their literary or rhetorical merits, their clarity, organization, or imaginations, like that. Now let's look at what good arguments does mean. Here, a good argument fundamentally is an argument that is either deductively sound or inductively correct. There are certain basic critical thinking standards that all good thinking and argumentation must meet. Among the most important of these standards are clarity, precision, accuracy, relevance, consistency, and logical correctness. And completeness. Lastly, fairness. Fairness. An argument that is deeply obscure, full of irrelevant statements, and grossly incomplete in its examination of relevance evidence does not count as a good argument even if it is deductively sound. Given the general definition of good argument, we can offer the following general guidance on evaluating arguments. What are they? The first one is, are the premises true? The second one is the reasoning correct? Is the reasoning correct? And is the argument deductively valid or inductively strong? The other one is, does the arguer commit any logical fallacies? And the other one is, does the arguer express his or her points clearly? The other one is, are the premises relevant? And the other one is the arguer complete? Or is all relevant evidence taken into account given understandable limitations of time, space, context, and so on? And the last one is the argument fair? The most general principle can be summed up in the following principle of rational acceptance. Generally speaking, it is reasonable to accept a claim. The first one is, if the claim does not conflict with personal experience that we have no good reason to doubt. And the second one is, the claim does not conflict with background beliefs that we have no good reason to doubt. And the third one is, the claim comes from a credible source. Let's briefly discuss these three conditions. The first one, as I said before, is, does the claim conflict with our personal experience? Actually, personal experiences are often less reliable, we think. We need to be aware that often believing is seen and that things are not always as they appear. The second one is, does the claim conflict with our background beliefs? By background beliefs, we mean that vast network of conscious and unconscious convictions we use it as a framework to assess the credibility of claims that can't be verified directly. In general, if a claim fits well with our background beliefs, it is reasonable for us to accept it. Now let's look at the third one. The third one is, does the claim come from a a credible source? Generally speaking, we should accept a claim on authority if it comes from a credible source that we have no good reason to doubt. Actually, good reasons to doubt the credibility of a source may include the following. For example, the source is not a genuine expert or authority. And the second one is the source is speaking outside his or her area of expertise. And the third one is the source is is or has some other motivate to lie or mislead. The other one is the accuracy of the sources, personal observations, and experiences is questionable. And the other one is the issue is one that cannot be can be settled by expert opinion. Now let's look at the refuting arguments. This is the last topic about this chapter. To refuse an argument is not merely to challenge, rebut, or criticize it. It is to defeat it, to show that the premises don't provide convincing reasons to accept the conclusion. Actually, arguments can be criticized in various ways, but there are only two ways in which argument can be refuted. The first one is show that a premise or a critical group of premises is false or dubious. And the second thing is show that the conclusion doesn't follow from the premises. Let's look at these two refutation strategies in turn. Now let's look at the first one. Sometimes it is possible to defeat an argument by showing that a single premise is false. Let's look at an example. For example, All presidents live in the White House. Live in the White House. Then Paris Hilton is president. So Paris Hilton lives in White House. Here, simply noting that the second premise is false is enough to refuse the argument. Because this premise is false, the argument fails to provide good reason to accept the conclusion. Let's look at the second one. The second way to refute an argument is by showing that your reasoning is faulty, that the conclusion doesn't follow properly from the premises. And as we have seen, the most important questions to ask in assessing the logic of an argument are: if the argument is deductive, does the conclusion follow necessarily from the premise? The second one is, are the premises relevant to the conclusion? And the third one is, are the premises sufficient to support the conclusion? Today, we analyzed some titles from this topic, and it was the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening to me.